Hello again. Something which came to light last month at a select committee meeting was the total financial cost to this country of filling up our hotels with illegal immigrants and then using taxpayers' money, that is to say our money, to settle the bill. After some attempts at evasion, it came to light that there are currently 37,000 asylum seekers being accommodated in hotels in Britain at an average cost of £127 a day. This amounts to a staggering £1.8 billion a year. That's £1,800 million every year. That is almost £5 million a day, or £33 million a week. The average wage of a police officer or nurse is something like £30,000 a year, which is perhaps £550 a week. So in a week, we could either spend £33 million putting up illegal immigrants in hotels, or, if we didn't do that, we could pay for 8,000 nurses or police officers. It's a tricky one, isn't it? I wonder which of those two uses for £33 million a week sounds like a better bet for Britain. Perhaps viewers could help me out here. Of course, that was the figure for asylum seekers last month. It has gone up considerably since then. I want to look at just one day this week to see how rapidly this expenditure is increasing. On Tuesday this week, the UK Border Force brought 405 people ashore at Dungeness in Kent. Each of those people will cost us £127 a day to put up at a hotel. That means that in that single day, the cost to taxpayers rose by £51,435 each day. That is to say, £360,000 a week. That's the bill simply for the asylum seekers who arrived this Tuesday just gone. Blimey, you know what? There goes the cost of another 650 nurses or police officers in just that one day. It is only when we translate these figures in this way that the staggering cost of what this country is doing, or I should rather say failing to do, becomes clear. I am irresistibly reminded of a man who said over 50 years ago, we must be mad, literally mad. So much for the financial cost, but that's not the full story, is it? Because once those people are settled here, they don't all just live quietly and become industrious citizens who pay their taxes and national insurance contributions. Consider the case of Mohammed al-Araj, a 19-year-old Syrian who came to Britain 4 years ago as a refugee. Last September, he was sitting in the stairwell of some flats up in Preston in the north of England with a bunch of friends, smoking cannabis, laughing, shouting, making a nuisance of himself to the neighbours. They were outside the flat of an 86-year-old army veteran who came out and asked them to move somewhere else. The youths laughed at him and made various unpleasant remarks, and the old man grew annoyed and said a few sharp things back. Whereupon the Syrian refugee went up to him and punched him with such force that this 86-year-old man was killed. I give a link in the description of this video to this case. What I find astounding is the remarks made by the judge and the lenient sentence which he handed out. It seems that the man of 86 made a couple of racist comments after being provoked very greatly, and this, according to the judge, meant that, and I quote, the mitigating factors outweigh the aggravating factors. So he sent this thug, who of course now has British citizenship, to prison for 4 years. That means, of course, he'll serve 2 years before he's released. And right there you have it. A refugee who is given shelter in this country and repays the hospitality by killing an old army veteran. But it's all right, there were mitigating factors. The old man had said something racist, so that was presumably sufficient justification for somebody to kill him. This too is part of the cost which asylum seekers represent to this country. I think I'd better devote a separate video to the crime wave which such people bring with them to Britain, of which this is merely a fairly typical example.